In this lesson, I'm going to be making a still image creative for the site that we made from scratch together called Soul Bottoms. And if you remember this site, we were selling basically boho pants, boho dresses, and as well as accessories. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you're watching the other lessons in this course. We really broke down this site. But now I'm going to be making a square still image ad, which is probably my favorite type of creative to run because it is so versatile and also so quick to make. So let's get started. We're going to be using Shutterstock for this one, and I found this picture of this beautiful boho girl. And if you don't know what Shutterstock is, it's basically a stock photo site that we use frequently throughout this course. And you can see all I did was type in bohemian in the search, and we have literally thousands and thousands of different pictures to choose from. And I found this beautiful lady on the second page of looking for bohemian. There she is right over there. So when we decide an image we want to use, we just go ahead and click download. And again, how did I choose this image? You know, she seemed like something the target audience that wants boho would be looking for. And now I've had to find a font, right? So I've gone on to Font Space and looked up Summer Sale and looked up girl fonts quite literally because I think it's going to be all female audience, right? All my products are female, and you can see different previews of these female fonts. So I've decided to use that one. I've downloaded that as well. And the moment you open that font file, you're going to be able to install it into Photoshop, and here we are on Photoshop. I've gone ahead and unlocked this layer. Now we just have to resize the canvas, and keep in mind this is a lifestyle still image, so we're not going to be putting any of our products onto here. And the right size is going to be 1400 by 1400 pixels, a perfect square. Now we just have to adjust the image so it fits onto this new canvas. Perfect. Okay, let's drag it a little bit and just position this girl just right. And the point of a lifestyle ad is basically to convince the consumer that the girl in the picture is kind of wearing our product, which honestly works super, super well. And even when you don't sell anything remotely close to this product, you know, people are still going to click through onto the site and check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and use the horizontal text tool in black and write in Summer Sale because that's going to be the offer that we're going to be running. So using a font that I installed, right, that summer font for girls, we're going to be writing in this text and just making it a little bit bigger. Perfect. So I actually really like this font. I think it's also very similar to the font that we use for the site, which gives us that kind of uniformity with our brand. Perfect. And now I want to do something special, right? Because this text really isn't standing out in the right way, and that's kind of amateur hour if we just, you know, leave it like this. It looks like we use Microsoft Paint. I want this girl's head to come above the font to kind of make a 3D appeal and make it a little more professional. So I'm gonna go ahead and shrink this girl down a little bit so her entire head isn't going to be blocking summer, but a little bit part will be coming out. Let me just make these adjustments just right. And that looks pretty good. Now you can see we got to get rid of this transparent layer, right? That gridded layer. So I've done this so many times throughout the lesson. Your brain should scream rectangular marquee tool and then also content aware scale. So let's just go do that right now. We're going to put the box right above before it touches her head because we want to stretch that. We're going to edit content aware scale and hold down shift and drag it up perfectly. So that is absolutely awesome. And now we just have to move into the next part of this design. We're going to be making her head come above the text, okay? And we want to demonstrate some kind of Photoshop tricks and skills in order to make this seem like it was created by a very professional graphic designer, right? That's the appeal that customers want to see because that's what big brands are willing to invest in their creative. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to this girl now, and we're going to use this tool called the polygonal lasso tool. And if you've never used this before, it means you've been sleeping on these lessons, which makes me really angry at you. But what it does is allows you to draw basically straight line selections and then manipulate it, right? So I've gone ahead and copy and pasted it, right? That's essentially what this tool does. So what we're going to be doing is using this tool to draw tiny, tiny lines around her hair and her head. And we're going to be very, very detail oriented in this part of the process. And don't ask me why we're going to be doing this yet. You're going to see just very, very soon, the point of all of this, and it's gonna be so cool. So we're gonna just keep selecting and selecting and selecting and selecting, and now at this point it's important to be very, very focused when you're doing this. And you might be wondering, Kevin, why are we taking time to do something this tedious? I want to get to the sexy stuff, right? I want to start selling. I want to start using Facebook ad strategy. This is the creative process, and it is going to be the biggest determinant for your ads performing or not, right? If you have the best targeting strategy out there in the world, but your creatives are absolutely crap, no one is going to click on them. So it doesn't matter. All targeting does is just get traffic to see your advertisement. So we finished selecting it. I've copied and pasted this layer, and I'm going to go ahead and drag it up. Perfect. Now you can see how we achieve this effect of the text looking behind the girl, right? Very, very cool, and honestly pretty easy. It's only been around 6 minutes now, and now I just want to make the text behind her a little bit more engaging as well. I'm just going to be playing around with the colors of this text, and let's see something that kind of stands out a little bit more. I don't really like that, but let's keep looking. Okay, so I actually really like this white, and I think it really fits the vibe of bohemian stuff, right? It's all about being pure, outdoorsy, being, I guess, like in a way, earthly, spiritual, and I know nothing about boho. This is just what I'm getting from doing my research. So maybe if I'm offending you and you're an avid follower of boho, I'm sorry. But we're going to be making this text more engaging with the rectangle tool. I made it a black color. I'm drawing a box right behind her head and in front of the text, and we're going to just drag the rectangular layer down. So now you can see it says summer sale, but this doesn't look that nice, right? So let's see if we can change the opacity of this black rectangular box and make it look a little bit better. Okay, so this looks a lot better, and this is just one way to make text stand out, but we're not going to settle on this one. Let me show you another way. It's going to be using a drop shadow. So I've gone ahead and selected that text over there, and went to the FX area and clicked on drop shadow, and now you can see it's just a lot of different settings we can play with, right? We can first play with the opacity, or how dark and light it is, and we can play with the different angles, and I actually think this part of it's really cool. It kind of simulates which angle the light is hitting at, and you can just fool around with this one. And we can also play with the distance, which is how far away the shadow is, and if you bring it in super close, it doesn't even look like a shadow, right? It just kind of looks like a outline, which is very fun. And then we can also play with the spread, which won't really reflect unless we've changed the size. So let's go do that. And yep, the size basically makes the shadow a little bit tighter or a little bit blurrier around the words, right? So another way to make the text more engaging, we're going to use the outer glow feature, which is still in the same panel over here. And what that does is exactly what it sounds like. It kind of creates a outer spread around the text, a border, if you will, right? And I actually like this one the most for this particular creative, so I think we're going to stick with this one, but we can make a lot of adjustments. For example, the color. So let's go and play around with the color right now, and we're just going to make it the same color as something that's already in the picture, which is actually a great psychological kind of marketing effect, right? Consumers are very drawn to pictures that don't have a ton of color variance, right? You can see how we kind of made this text the same vibe as she is, and that's how Photoshoppers kind of achieve that feel. And I'm going to adjust the text a little bit more. Okay, I think this looks really great. So now all we have to do now is just add another text about the sale. And this time I'm going to be using a different font compared to the one that we did for summer sale, because I want this one to be very easily read, and it's not going to look very good squiggly because it's going to be the sale quantified. We're going to make this a 50% off, and I'm just going to use the font Proxima Nova. And sometimes when you use two different pieces of fonts in the same image, it actually has a very nice kind of contrasting, distinguished effect. There it is, and we're going to put it right over there. And keep in mind, I had no idea how to do any Photoshop when I first started, so this is all stuff that I just had to learn on my own. I'm going to put it over there, and we're going to give this text the same outer glow that we gave the other one just so it also stands out on the background. Perfect. I think that looks really, really good. And honestly, I'm just going to make some adjustments. And I think that this ad looks like it could be a cover of a magazine, right? And keep in mind, all we did was take a high quality stock image and then just use some simple Photoshop maneuvers, and it only took like 10 minutes in total for us to make this together. And if I wasn't calling out my steps, it would take me around 5. So it's not that hard to make an engaging creative. So now we're here in Ad Manager. We just have to plug this creative in after we've already saved it, and it's a very intuitive process. I walk through this in my course as well, and I'm also going to give this creative some burner copyright just so you can see the display. For a masterclass on how to write copy, go to the copy section of the course. So now here it is. This is what it looks like displayed. I think it's a really, really cool ad and fits our store perfectly. I'm going to send this notification to Facebook so I can go ahead and preview this ad on my phone, and it looks great in my hands. So we're ready to rumble and get some customers onto our site with this ad.